apparently there was some medical malpractice perpetrated in the WWE recently. And that's why we don't get to see Charlotte at WrestleMania. Did you hear this?
Yeah. This is something.
They actually pulled Charlotte out of WrestleMania because their doctors saw her medical results or whatever from a physical or a test or whatever and thought she was pregnant, but she's not pregnant. But by the time they found out she wasn't pregnant, they'd taken her out of WrestleMania. What a bunch of fucking imbeciles. How could you? They didn't even give her a pregnancy test. It was results as her, are they married yet, her and Andre, or are they soon to be married? Her betrothed, whatever.
They're engaged. From what I understand, they were going to be married, but they delayed it due to the pandemic and not being able to have a wedding the way they would want to.
Well, the point is, he spilled the beans when he did an interview and said, yeah, apparently she had some other type of medical test. I guess they test all the talent on a regular basis. And because she had an elevated reading on something, the WWE doctor said, oh, that means you're pregnant. And just told her she was pregnant. I guess she was like, what? And then told the office and pulled her out of WrestleMania, and she took like 3 or 4 home pregnancy tests and said, no, I'm not pregnant. By then, they'd already done it. So Charlotte, their biggest female star, is not on WrestleMania. I don't know if she's the biggest. She's just most talented. Is not on WrestleMania because they got fucking quack doctors. That's basically it. And then she got COVID, but she's cleared from that. She could be on WrestleMania. And yeah, boy, I bet she's pissed. You don't get many WrestleMania chances. And I believe they even mentioned it, especially she said the women don't have careers as long as the men. So waits a year for the big match, the big payoff, well, I don't know if it's a big payoff anymore, but you know what I mean. It's a big deal to them these days, WrestleMania. And she can't be on it because the doctors don't know what the fuck a woman's plumbing works like.
Now she should really get pregnant. Show them.
Oh, God, not her, too.
Why not? Be back before next year's WrestleMania. Do it now.
I would demand a fucking check. I'd say, hey, I was here and ready to go. Your fucking quack doctors are the ones that knocked me out of this. I want my payoff. Women.
No,
every time you got women around, you got troubles.
No, she did nothing wrong.
I know. I'm
this Andrade interview, though, is really something. It's
what I was about to say. For once, the woman had respect for the business and was ready and willing and able to fulfill her obligations and her bookings and controlled her biological functions while she was under contract and committed to an employer, and then they fuck her around. And what about Andrade?
Well, this interview he did with Hugo Savinovich is pretty interesting because that's where this story came from. He just said it in that interview, and then Charlotte had to put out some statement in the nicest possible way confirming everything he said. And he also said in that interview that I guess when they brought up Angel Garza, at one point they had him cut his hair because they told him they were going to give him a push, and I guess he couldn't have the hair he had to get a push. And then they never pushed him after he cut his hair.
They're big on doing that. Yeah, cut all your hair off, kid. We want to see what you look like. Well, we don't like it.
They've been doing that for like 20 years.
Yes. That precipitated the famous "thank you, fuck you, bye" quote when Doug Basham walked into the OVW locker room, my fucking top heel with the fucking sculptured bodybuilding physique and worked like fucking Brad Armstrong and had long, dark, rock star, stringy hair that was fashionable at the time. And he comes walking in the back door looking like a 40-year-old truck driver with a shaved head. What the fuck? Well, they wanted to see what I'd look like bald with me and Damager together. I called, and Laurinaitis knew never to answer the phone on Wednesday. I called, left it on his voicemail. Hey, my goddamn top heel just walked in looking like a 40-year-old fucking truck driver. If you want to shave anybody's head, then let me know 2 weeks in advance and I'll book the match and sell some tickets. In the meantime, tell your fucking supposed creative team, if there's a goddamn creative and they want to know what somebody will look like some other way, fucking pretend. Thank you, fuck you, bye, and hung up. Oh, God damn it.
Apparently, here, what do you think of this? So we don't know all the details of everything going on behind the scenes, but Andrade, this whole thing with Charlotte happens. He asks for his release. At first, they don't give it to him. Then they give it to him with no non-compete. What does that say? The fact that they let him go without asking him, without demanding that he sit on the sidelines for 90 days.
Well, why should he?
No, I agree he shouldn't.
Well, but I mean, even to them, why should he? It's not fucking Steve Austin. I mean, I'm not even knocking the guy as a person. I don't even remember if I've seen him have a match, but they have obviously presented him as a negligible peripheral personality, and he wants to leave and they don't care if he goes. So, and what use is he going to be to anyone else? Is AEW can't bring in a goddamn real big star and get them over on their television and make them look like a real big star. You think they're going to take, look at Bluto, what they did with Bluto. And he was halfway over in the WWE. You think they're going to take Andrade and instantly they couldn't get him over with helium. They can't get anybody over. So why wouldn't they just say,
To be fair, Bluto wasn't halfway over for a long time.
I'm just saying at one time. That's better than some of these guys.
At one time he was, yes.
He didn't figure out how he did that and he couldn't replicate it. Anyway, I'm just saying it doesn't surprise me a no compete for a guy that they've used at that level, because they've practically, see, a lot of these guys, when they bring them in and just do that to them, then they can get rid of them and it's no loss for the company. And meantime, they have actually made it harder for anybody else to get any use out of them because of the way that they've been portrayed there. They look like a fucking schlub. And it's not even like anybody was screaming, hey, if Andrade could only get out of here and go show his true talent and colors. So, yeah, I would... If I was the WWE, I'd be encouraging these guys. Here's Tony Khan's number. Here, please call. Maybe he can start you tomorrow. Spend as much money of his as he possibly can on all the subpar talent.
It's not his money.
Well, you know what I'm saying. That they don't want, or that guys that don't want to be there, fine. You go over here and you'll be having your fucking head stuck through a fucking video arcade game here on TV next week. You go on.
Well, let's be fair. It was actually cardboard. It wasn't a real video arcade.
Well, I know. But anyways, I'm sure that's the first thing I would do. If I was, now Laurinaitis is back in charge of talent relations. I'll say this, we'll move on to the next topic. If I was him, I would take the talent roster and I'd make a list of the 20 guys that I wanted to fucking get rid of. And I would hand them Tony Khan's number and say, please, act like we want to re-sign you and we want to give you more money, but you're just not sure about it, and see how much money you can get out of him, because we're firing you next week. And that way it would accomplish getting rid of the guys they don't want. They know that whoever they are, he can't use them properly. So they're going to be no fucking, you're not like giving ammunition to the competition. You get them some money, you get rid of them, and you've made him spend more of his money on people that are of no use to him or that he won't be able to figure out how to use. So he doesn't have as much for if somebody actually comes along that could make a difference despite the way they're being presented. So it would be but Laurinaitis ain't that smart.